Good morning. Good morning. This is Spirit Journey. Yes, uh it's early morning. Yeah, my clock is blinking on and off. I didn't set it. Yeah, when the power goes off, you turn off the power and it goes on. So I have to reset that. Yeah, as you see, it's still dark outside. It's about approaching 6 a.m. New York time. I woke up feeling a little, still a little stressed. My last live stream, I discuss about certain things that were going on in my life, and in particular, a friend of mine that passed away Friday morning. So I know a big part of what I'm feeling now is due to that. I started to get very stressed on Tuesday. I thought she had passed on Tuesday, but she didn't actually, and she passed away that following Friday, just a couple of days ago. Yes, it's Monday morning in January. It's the last Monday of this month. So I know a lot of things that I'm going to say is really, the stress is, is triggered because of my friend's death. She died of cancer. I'm sorry, she was a very good person to me. She was a woman of Hawaiian ancestry. I used to live in Hawaii. And even though I'm not from her national, her, um, of her ancestry, she and her whole family treated me like family. So I know that love really is blind. That love is. She never said or implied anything of being better than me or worse than me because of her nationality or complexion, any stupidness like that. But I mean, this person put her money where her mouth was. Yes, literally, she was that type of person. She went out of her way to make me feel loved. She knew at that time that there were financial challenges that I had. And out of her own heart, she wasn't a rich woman at all. She had 4 children. And yeah, she took care of all of them. I think one of them was away at school. But yeah, she was a single parent. She was a single parent. And even in all that, she had shared some of her resources with me, unsolicited, and I didn't feel worthy of it. She had children, but she gave me what she could. And so I thank her and her family. Her family is very, very good to me. So why am I mentioning this? Well, yes, I am saddened about passing. And but it's opening my eyes about being loved. Everybody needs love. I didn't stay in Hawaii. And I I wanted to come back to New York from Hawaii because I wanted to be with other black people. Even though this family, they were my friend, they were similar complexion to me. So it's not about color with them, not at all. But I wanted to be with people of uh, my black heritage, American black heritage. Living in Hawaii, I saw how blacks in general were treated, whether you're light complexion or dark complexion. Now, the people that live in Hawaii are primarily people of Asian ancestry. Everybody's mixed with everybody else. It's a very blended island. You have the indigenous Hawaiian people, very nice people they were, very, very nice. A very genuine and giving society. I've never met people quite like them before. And then you have people who are mixed with Hawaiian. You have other Pacific Islanders, other Asians. You have whites. You have very, very few American blacks that live there. Very few. And they made sure when I first arrived, when I say they, I don't mean Hawaiians, but the residents there that I lived with. I had rented a room in a house with other people, and they primarily were whites from the U.S. mainland, on the West Coast primarily. And I remember my first month on arriving there, they had mentioned that the black people on the island were kicked off island. Now, why do they need to tell me that? I wonder why. Well, I feel that life was telling me that it was time for me to leave Hawaii. I lived there for almost 3 years. And it was the first time that I said, I want to be with my own. And so I came back to New York City. And then a couple of weeks later, 9/11 happened. I was trying to get my old job back. I mean, I mentioned all this before in past videos. But I'm just sharing like what could have happened, my emotions, what was my psyche, what affected the way I think today. So here I lived on an island, and it was a lot of racism, blunt, very blatant racism from other people of color, and other things from whites. The whites there, they were more stealth in their racism, but the people of color were more blunt, more aggressive against uh, against myself. I was thinking here as I'm in bed. I'm in bed right now, and I was asking myself questions. And I think in this live stream, it's going to be more of a rhetorical question and statements. And it's going to be designed to really promote thinking on the hearer of this live stream. Just understand where I'm coming from. I love humanity. I feel like I start to ask myself, why am I here? And why am I feeling the emotional stress that I'm feeling? I think part of the feeling, again, my friend passing away, but not understanding my experience. See, I understand, like, if you curse someone, be prepared to get cursed back. If you show love, you receive love. About repercussions of one's actions. I ask myself, I start to examine myself. Why am I experiencing the pushback that I'm getting? Why, if I love my community, why do I feel it's hatred towards me? Now, I think, like, living in a society like the state of Hawaii, it introduced me to all different types of personalities. And I felt that it showed me that to appreciate myself more, to appreciate the culture that I come from. I enjoyed many, many cultural activities when I lived in the state of Hawaii. I enjoyed it. I enjoyed indigenous culture, the arts, the crafts. I enjoyed it. I feel that I shared love in my heart. I was very shy back then, and I could not imagine that 19 or 20 years later, I would be on what's called YouTube talking to thousands of people. So I'm thankful for YouTube that it gives me the platform to share my heart with the world at large. So when I woke up this morning around 5 a.m., my mind was thinking, and I had anxiety in my chest, and I feel burdened. I feel burdened about my life and not understanding why I'm getting such pushback. I feel being hated on. Um, and I felt the hatred or jealousy when I lived in Hawaii. Um, I remember an incident in Hawaii. I was in a movie theater, and there wasn't that many people in the movie theater. And there was something funny. I don't remember the movie I was watching. And someone started shooting spitballs at me. Something was hitting the back of my neck and head, and I'm turning around. You can't really see anything. It's like they were upset that I had laughed at a joke. In the movie, it was a comedy. It was something. It's it made me feel I'm not supposed to laugh. I'm not supposed to be happy. And you're outnumbered. And it's your word against theirs. But it made me feel like like um, cockhold, if I could use that. Even though I'm a woman, I don't have I don't have a man's part, but that expression of being cockhold, that they're squeezing you by the neck and to control you. That's how I felt. And then I'm here in New York City, and I'm feeling the same type of thing. Sometimes I go outside sometimes, and I say to myself, I'm not going to walk around sad. Be happy because you are you. And I want to really embrace all humanity, but in particular, the Black people that I represent. so to speak. That when you see one, you're really representing other black people. And I want people to see good things about us because many of us are caring and loving people. Many of us do volunteer work in our communities because you want to help, not to be noticed, but you want to make a positive mark in life. Because when all things are said and done, that money and materialism is not what bring happiness. And seeing so many of us on the street, so my heart really goes out. When I came back from Hawaii about 17 and a half years ago, I I saw I saw a lot of us in despair. And I knew I wanted to do something better with my life. I wanted to be able to contribute, so I went back to school. I did my best, and I did graduate. I would go outside, and sometimes people might look at me, black women might look at me funny like. I was on the train, it was a very crowded train, packed. It was the one train. And I'm being glared at by a young black woman. And she said very aggressively, excuse me. But it was like, not like an excuse me, oh, excuse me, but one of aggression, like, and I didn't understand what was going on. And she wanted to get physically aggressive. She had pushed me out of her way. And I said, Miss, where am I to? There's nowhere to move. There were things on the ground that anyone would have fallen over. This aggression. And the woman behind me was eyeballing me also. Same type of mentality. Another young black, heavy-set black woman. And they didn't seem to like that I was studying for an exam. I had these sheets of paper studying for a massive exam. And I feel the hatred. Like, oh, you think you're important because you're in school. That type of thing I felt. And then a year ago, a similar type of thing happened to me, but this was like a virtually empty train. Like there's seats everywhere on the train. Only one person was standing up on the train, but even though there's seats available. And these two very young black women come and they seem to be like scoping the train. Like one of them was eating pizza, a slice of pizza, and then the other one was like looking down the train. They both stayed at the door. The one with the pizza bumped into an Asian lady and just carelessly eating her pizza and not saying excuse. It's like they were the center of a uh, focus of attention. And then I didn't know why she was looking down the train, and then she looks straight ahead at me, and she says the same thing in a very, very barking way. Excuse me, it's the same thing. But it wasn't again an excuse me like excuse me, or but it was like an order. I didn't know what her problem was. So I thought maybe she might have dropped something when she's whatever. That's what I thought. I didn't engage in her. I just slid over because I thought she had to get something from underneath the chair. But no, she took my seat. I realized she wanted me to get up so that both of those two to take my chair. I was on my way to visit my 89-year-old mother, going on 89 at the time. Now this is the train that I took is a really nice train. It's very clean, uh, no incidences. It wasn't rush hour. It was post rush hour. Seats available, but that yet this happened. I see that you have this hatred that some American black women have against other black women. I ask myself, why? Do I have, like at one point, I thought to myself, do I have hidden sin? Like I used to be a Christian, so that this is the old Christian theology that you have hidden sin somewhere and they're picking up your hidden sin, and so they're doing they're saying these things against you. So I said, no, don't put that hang up on your back. I said, what's going on here? Now I see that it's like our community says a lot of stuff. But I see that, we're not ready to be free. All these things that happen, that you talk about, you want freedom, you want equal rights, you want self-expression, you want to be able to be who you are, you want to have your natural hair, you want to have the full figure, you want the full lips, you want all these attributes, and for people to like and respect your physical and cultural attributes. How come I'm not given the same freedom? Why do I feel I have to apologize for who I am? I'm a member of this black community also. From the same town, went to the same schools. But why am I getting all this pushback? Why? Why am I receiving hatred? Why, when I did the volunteer work, why was I treated the way I was? Why is it that when you're a black woman, but let's say maybe you don't speak the same way as the other black women, if you don't sound angry, you're more soft-spoken, maybe you have a little education over the others, maybe your skin may not be the same intensity as theirs, or maybe your hair is a little straighter, maybe has a little bit more natural highlights to it. Why is it that I'm not allowed to have this self-expression? Why aren't I allowed to be happy? Why can't I just walk down the street and have a smile on my face and not feel like, how dare you be happy? Or you're going to visit your mom, your elderly mom, and to be bullied on the train. Or when I was in college years ago, and I didn't agree with some of the political things, and I was ganged up on. See, what's right is right and what's wrong is wrong. But that incident that happened to me in college, I mentioned this before. I it was some um in the dormitory that we were in. We there was like a central government, like who's going to be like the treasurer and um the head of the dorm and things like that. And there were three black women, but I would say people of modest income communities. They were dark complexion, and I wasn't running for office, but they had offered me that's right, it was the treasurer position, and they didn't give it to the white girl. I didn't have any um, skills with treasurer or anything like that, but I saw through what they were doing. It was something that they were saying. Yeah, they were also having a party, and they had music on. And I saw that they were showing off and showing off to show up the white people that were in the dorm. It was like a meeting. And I knew what they were doing, and I didn't approve of it. See, the high school that I had gone to was a very diverse school. And at that time, I had a false sense of security with the white students. They never bothered me in school, never. They were very friendly. So I had a false sense of security around them that we were all friends. But a, a wide awakening that my future bosses, when I got my first job, I started to experience what they call racism. But either way, we were students, we were teenagers, and it wasn't a free school. You had to pay to go to school. And my logic was if we all have to pay the same amount for this school to live in this dorm, to take classes, it should all be equal. And I should not have be treated one way and they another solely because of race. And so they did something, the girls, they were showing off. And then I went to put I remember now I had put something on. And it was a white artist singing. It was a record. It wasn't my record, but I wanted diversity. That if it's okay to put their music on, black music, it's also okay for white music also. That's how I truly feel. I feel if you want equality, you have to give equality. That is my spiritual convictions. You want something, you have to also give it also. So they started mocking the music and saying pejorative things about white people with that music. I don't even remember what this song was, but it was a pop hit. It was a pop hit. And it was other stuff. See, what's wrong is wrong. And then Halloween came around, and one of those three girls came to my room and wanted to give me candy. So I thought she was just trying to make up for the meeting that happened earlier. Yeah, she wanted to make up all right. They had put in a toxin in the candy and I got sick, terribly sick. My eyes swelled up and scabbed. This dark ring came on my neck. I hid it from my folks because I realized what happened. And I never questioned the girls about it. And I did continue in the school. I mean, I wore turtlenecks to cover the mark on my neck. That was my real first attack, physical attack from blacks. And then I remember other things. I remember when I lived in the West Indies also. Yes, I lived in the West Indies also. And again, you had a local black woman. She worked in the mailroom, union employee. And then I had like an office job. And the extreme hostility I got, she was a very young woman. She was younger than me. She might have been 4 or 5 years younger than me. And so I remember when I went in the mailroom to get the mail for my department, I would say hello to her. Hey, how you doing? I was very shy back then, so I thought maybe they, if I extend myself and show that I'm friendly and that I'm not stuck up, maybe they'll learn, not to judge the way I look and just judge by what I do and what I say to them. So I follow the cultural norms of that society that when you walk in a room, you say good morning, good afternoon, or good evening, whatever what the salutation is of the moment. I try to small talk with her. She's very hostile. It's like when I lived in the West Indies, there's also another form of jealousy. People would say things like one time I was walking with a friend of mine, another black friend of mine. She went to school in the mainland and came back to that island. So she was Americanized, so to speak. And we're walking together, and I used to hear these weird noises as I walked. And then I discovered what that noise was. It was the women, the black women there, sucking their teeth at me as I walked with my friend. What are you saying about yourself? What you're telling me with all these incidences that happened to me is that you don't love yourself. You do not love yourself. And you're punishing me when I try to show encouragement, when I try to present myself in a positive way, to dress neat and clean, to talk polite. Some people might think, oh, maybe being a fake and a phony. No, be real. I think I'm a real person. And all these things and experiences that I experience with regard to black people is real. When I was also in the military. And I'm the only one that spoke up about the inequality that was happening with black people I was in the Navy, on the ship that I was on. It was racial disparities that was going on that was very blatant to me, and I spoke up. So here I proved my so-called loyalty to the black race and Black America, but why aren't I supported? So I think initially, like the incident that happened when I went away for school, when those three girls, they put the poison in the candy, the Halloween candy at me to get back at me. That was an initial wake up call. Maybe like you need to be more black centered. And it was like a couple of years later that I went into the military. Let's see, that was in '83 when that happened. Oh no, let's see, no 82 that happened, 1982, and then 5 years later I would go into the military. So I think that initial experience with those three girls and their biasness and what they thought they were doing being pro-black, what they were doing, they were discriminating. They were doing exactly what they say white people do, but they were doing it back. And that was before I became a Christian too. See what you do when you show hatred to someone, then hatred is going to be coming back. And so that's one of the laws of reciprocity. So I think that experience made me more sensitive to American blacks' sentiment. But again, we all have a right for self-expression, but you do not have a right to harm, to touch, to coerce, to kill, to destroy one's property. But you have a right to self-expression, to to love yourself, self-love. So I feel that I've done things to show love to our community, but I feel so strong like why am I feeling this way? Why is it that, I'm just thinking of something else. And it's to really stress my point. Yeah, I see that the daylight is coming very soon. You see that? It's getting lighter outside. But yes, I saw a video. A relative of mine shared a video with me. It was with the singer Smokey Robinson. Those of you who are old school would know who Smokey Robinson is. He was 1970s, 80s uh, pop singer, soul pop singer. He sung a lot of ballads, slow ballads. Smokey Robinson is a what you call what we would describe in the black community as a very light skinned, light eyed. He had either blue or light green eyes. He might even be mixed with a little Native American actually. Now he's talking to an audience of predominantly black people. And most of the people look darker than him in the audience, just regular black people in the audience. And he's given a speech about how the black community is giving themselves different names. And in a nutshell, for Smokey Robinson, he says, I want to be referred to as a black man, not anything else. And that his love for being a proud black man. And the audience applauded very strongly. So this is my question in this live stream. I never hear Dark-skinned black artists or, people in the community, the average black-skinned man or woman, give a speech such as his, how you're proud to be a black person, how you love the community, things like that. I never heard it. Never. Why is it that the lighter skinned black people can say it, that they're proud of their black heritage? How come I don't hear dark skinned black people say the same thing? Why is that? Because you don't like yourself. So you have all these lighter skinned black people or mixed race people of the black community promote all this stuff about black pride, but I don't hear it from you, mainstream, standard, average looking black American people. I don't hear it. I don't hear your love from your heart. I hear anger. That's all I hear from you is anger and resentment about who you are. See, real love speaks out. It precedes you. Real self-love, real self-black love precedes you. You're telling me by your actions that you don't love yourself. You don't. Real self-love doesn't sabotage other people. Real self-love doesn't attack someone on the train who's visiting their elderly mom. Real self-love does not put poison in somebody's candy because they disagreed with you or expose what you are really about. Real self-love loves others who love themselves, who loves humanity. Real self-love doesn't keep changing the identities. So now that I'm getting with the black community is now the calling themselves Native American Indians, and even saying that you never were brought here as a slave. So the whole history of how the mass majority of us got here. So that they're even denying their history. That's called hysteria and denial and self-loathing when you deny your history and want to call yourself some other nationality that hasn't lifted one finger to help you. And in fact, with the race codes that they had in earlier America, it was either you were white or colored, and colored was anyone that was not classified as white. And so that label also encompassed Native American Indians and the African that was brought here as slaves primarily. And then the Native Americans said, we don't want to be classified like those black people. So even they don't want to be associated with you. So you forget that. It wasn't Indians becoming black people. It was black people who wanted to become Indian. And those Indians did not do a finger to help you, but they wanted your strength because you're more in numbers. And so when the Civil Rights Act came, yes, they wanted equal rights too. But they didn't participate really in the movement. I saw one person that was marching with Native American that was marching with uh, Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. That was it. But was it a mass movement of Native American Indians coming to support us? Not the movement. It was all what they can get for themselves. Because what's happening? You don't see them helping you, but you see a lot of these so called um, blacks who want to call themselves Native American Indians. So it's like a slap in the face. So why am I feeling all this anxiety? I feel it's like you have all these people, you have lighter skinned blacks who are speaking out in truth, but not you, the average dark complexion American black. And then another time, last year, I was walking minding my own business, and this American black was sitting, he looked like a beggar. He was asking for money. And I had walked past him. So he used the opportunity to try to put guilt on here, that same guilt that many of us like to put on certain black people. He says, "Hey, you look like that girl, that woman on TV. Yeah, and she's a bigot. She doesn't like black people." Could you get that? This is a black man saying, and I'm not going to give the name of the um, TV personality that he thought I looked like. For those of you who know my channel, you could just speculate who he was referring to, who I look like. Okay? So I said to myself, this guy got the nerve. I don't know him, first time ever seeing him. And he's linking me with another woman, and by implication, saying that I'm a bigot also against my own kind. So I was curious. I went back. I said, what? Yeah, you look like that lady on TV, and she doesn't like black people, blah, 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 blah. Hey, could you get me some toilet paper? I need toilet paper, blah, blah, blah. And because of his boldness, I said, I'll get you that toilet paper. So I bought him a big roll. I bought him, it cost me, I think, $17. I bought this big thing of toilet paper. It cost me about $16, $17. And then I also bought him a large beverage. It was water, cold water, bottled water, because it was hot out there. So I handed it to him, and I wanted to ask him, hey, how did you get homeless? He said, I'm not homeless. I have a house, I live in an apartment around the corner. My welfare, the cycle, and I ran out of money, and I get my check next week, something like that. I felt like a damn fool, a real stupid fool to give, to do that. Now, this man is in his 50s. He can't save up enough money to buy himself his own toilet paper. He has to insult a fellow black woman and then twist it around and call me a bigot because I look like someone on television that probably didn't give him an eye. So he's going to use guilt. See, a lot of us in the black community, we like to use guilt on certain people. So they put guilt on people if they think you have money, or if you're not the same color as them, complexion or intensity of color, I should say, or your hair's a little longer, or let's say you have education or perceived education, or maybe you talk a little differently than they do. And then they're going to say, and have you prove your loyalty to the black community, yet you offer nothing to the rest of us. When I was in the military, I had gotten no support from the blacks on board the ship. None. I'm very, what you hear in my voice, yes, it is anger, but it's anger based on hurt. I feel hurt. I feel abandoned. I feel unloved to a community that I love. I prove my loyalty, so to speak, by my actions and the way I conduct myself. See, I self love myself. I treat myself well. I bathe, I fix myself. I respect my natural texture here. I walk in pride of my respect of my body. I don't do drugs. I don't drink alcohol. I respect myself. And that's another way how I show others about love, about if you love yourself, you're teaching people about love. You have to love yourself first in order to teach what love is. But the only thing I'm getting in the black community is hatred, self-hatred, and I feel that they're trying to pull me down with them. It's like a world hatred. See, it's not just the black community, but other communities that live in New York City, that primarily from the Caribbean. I show love, but it's like jealousy. Or that because I don't speak their language, that I'm immediately their enemy. And I can't have any more love in my heart. And I don't understand it. So I started thinking, like, it was really stressing me out this past week. And again, I think what really sparked this intensity is when my friend passed. When I got the message that of her on her deathbed, and this was a genuine person. I'm not from her community, and she shared love. Why can't others share love to me? But the people who I'm a member of, that I live amongst, that I went to school, that I went to church with, all these things. Yeah, that's my little doggy. All these things, I don't understand it. I don't understand about myself why when women like also I'm very pro rights for women. Bad things happen to me as a woman from men. And so I understand the sensitivity that other women have as it pertains to their body and being violated. I'm very sensitive to the needs of women. But why are women taking it out on me? I don't understand it. I don't understand the bullying. I don't understand the discrimination. I'm very aware of what it's like to be a woman because I was born and raised a woman. I know what it's like to be molested. I know what it's like to be sexually harassed on the job. I know all these things. And never receiving real camaraderie from especially black women. I had seen there was a I had put a lawsuit once. This company I worked for, I was sexually harassed and then targeted by the company when I complained about it. And that was in the Caribbean. And I would go back to New York. My body was hurting. My hormone levels fluctuated greatly. I started hemorrhaging. So I was physically and emotionally a wreck. I hesitantly went to see a psychiatrist at the VA office in St. Albans, Queens, New York, not far from where I used to live at that time. And it was a black woman, and she belittled me. I was in shock. She was a very dark skinned, very overweight black woman, and she had a severe hatred against me when I walked in. When I walked in, I felt her eyes glaring at me. So I see that I seem to elicit a lot of hatred in a lot of women, primarily black women. And the women that I identify with, that I love, yes, we come from all different social economics, of course. So why all this? Why the that we have to prove ourselves? Why is it that people, blacks who look like me, talk like me, or maybe act like me, how can we have to prove who we are and our loyalty, but not you? This makes me angry, extremely, extremely angry, and I'm stressed right now. It's like, where's the loyalty? Where is it? I started thinking when I woke up this morning that maybe I have a special calling from somewhere. So I mean, for all this thing to happen, I feel like I'm being targeted much of my life. Much of my life. I feel that there was a targeting against me. And rather than getting really better, I feel like times it gets worse. I feel maybe I'm not loving enough. Maybe I just need to show more love. You know, some people cannot really receive love. And even some of the men, I show you love and I get hatred. I don't know anyone who's as genuine as I am in my heart. I truly care about humanity overall, regardless of your race. Regardless. I must have some type of special calling on my life. I hear, like in some spiritual circles, they say that some people are brought on this planet to it's not like an occupation per se, but just their presence is just to show love to people, show compassion, and somehow that you enlightened the energy, as they might call it, that to bring energy, positive energy into that world, to try to elevate it so that it will ascend to higher levels spiritually. I wonder, am I one of those people? It's like even my family, I show them love, and I feel I get a lot of what's the word? Betrayal. My whole life is like a theme of betrayal. It's like, why is this? Again, is it hidden sin in my life? Did I do something in a past life? I'm getting the same. I learned the first time. Yeah, I learned. So why am I still getting these same lessons? I know what it feels like to be betrayed. I learned my lesson. Don't betray people. Don't try to harm people. Or some people you have the right intention, but maybe the outcome. And I feel that I'm being, how you say, treated harshly. It's like I have to be perfect for society, but I'm not given the same leeway. If you want me to be perfect, shouldn't you also be perfect for me? It goes both ways. I also started wondering when I woke up, like, I think I need to do, it's this Native American, a shamanic ceremony. See, what's happening is just, it's like I can't go left, I can't go right, I can't go up, I can't go down. And I think life is trying to tell me that I need to stand still and go within. I need to target what's going on in this form, this carnation. I wonder whether that would be a breakthrough for me to discover. See, I think, see, what I'm really getting at right now, I know I gave a big rant. And again, my rant is to really, I'm really talking within, to self examine me by the things that I'm saying, to pose questions to help me and the viewer of this and listener of this live stream. What is it? I know I'm not the only one in the world that experiences these things. What is it? What is it inside me that's causing these reactions of others, of my family, of my society? And these are people who I genuinely care about. See, if I didn't care about these people, I would just, say, screw you. But it's not my nature. It's not my nature. So I'm wondering, do I need to do a shamanic ceremony? Those are to my I don't know exactly I what a shamanic ceremony is, but it's a practitioner usually of Native American Indian ancestry and culture, and it's some of them use what they call a sweat lodge. They may use certain plant medicines, and then you do an internal journey. So also what I'm experiencing is anxiety, severe anxiety. And I want to get to the root of this anxiety and fear. I don't know whether, I think a lot of it is just this current life, but is it other residues of other lives, if it's such thing as past lives, I should say? I don't know. But I want to get to the heart of the problem so that I could be a service to myself, my home, my family, and the society that I live in. This is really food for thought. And yes, it's light outside now. See, life happens for a reason. And when my friend died this past Friday, it just really had me thinking. Her life was an asset to my life. But I think all of us have a purpose in life. And what that purpose is, I don't know. I don't know. It's really shaking me up. It makes me feel like I don't belong in this society. It's getting very violent. Um, I guess because of the media and everything. But the society that I live in, it's so much intensity. It's no stability. And I just feel that I don't fit in. And I feel unappreciated. I would say that's the key word. I feel unappreciated. I love this world. And I really want to make it a better place for all of us to live in harmony of love. I want the black woman and the, other people of the Caribbean. I want us to love ourselves and I want us to be able to love each other. See, we don't even love each other. We live in our respective communities, neighborhoods, and if we accidentally go in your neighborhood, even though we're going to buy something, so we're bringing in commerce, it's not liked. We sabotage ourselves. It's not always white people who do things against blacks and other uh, non whites in this country. I think we do maybe 90% of the stuff on ourselves. We abuse our children sometimes, and then our children abuse other children. It's a endless cycle of deprecation. We need to self-love. You have to start loving yourself first. And so don't always rely on lighter skinned blacks like Smokey Robinson or myself or other people in the media that kind of look like me or maybe talk like me. Shouldn't shouldn't you, mainstream black America, contribute also and teach about self-love by your actions? Stop attacking people like myself who are trying to help and elevate. Stop hating us. Rather than hating us, fix your life, fix your family, fix society so that we all live in peace and love. It starts with you, it starts with the individual. Let's start loving ourselves. So that's what I want to share today in this live stream Monday morning. I truly love you all and all races. I see that this whole world, we're all being fooled. And yes, I know that maybe some things might sound contradicting of me. Yeah, there are bad people of every group. And yes, there are some bad white people. But there are also good white people too. And so I have to remind myself that just like there's good black people, there's also bad black people as well. We are all responsible for our own actions, and it's our responsibility to correct ourselves. There's no perfect human being. There's no one perfect. So I cannot be perfect, and I know you cannot be either. But let us with the intent to do goodwill. And not all of us have the same accents. Not all of us could pronounce words or foreign languages the same way you can if you're from that community or language grouping. Not everybody is mocking you if you can't pronounce certain words. Rather than getting offended if some of us cannot speak your language, start maybe you can teach us some words. Teach us some of your culture. Share. Not everybody's against you who is different than you. You'd be surprised how eager we really are of one another to learn things from one another. Why do you think people go to museums? To learn about others. Each one teach one. Be a teacher about your community or your language or even your parents. Teach. Human beings are naturally curious people. And not everything that is different is hated. We're just curious. Okay? So that's all that I got to say this morning. And I send you peace and love. And I hope those who are able to reach this far in the video are able to